All right, what's up? You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. We got Andy Mineo in the building. How you doing, sir?
Said it right. I like it. Great.
Yeah, we had a whole controversy about how to say your name. Our DJ is famous for, it's a rite of passage. He says every artist's name wrong. So if he hasn't said your name wrong, you ain't really nobody yet.
Oh, that's
so
great.
It's a rite of passage. And
My mother used to do that to restaurants we'd go to. It's the worst. But it was the best at the same time.
Dude, I mean, we're so excited to finally be sitting down with you, man. We've been tracking you since you had a different name, and now you're like blowing up, killing it. So we want to kind of get a feel for who you are. And I want to first, actually, you know what? Everybody knows who you are. Let's talk about the Arrow, the last two EPs, right?
The Arrow and the Sword.
And the Sword.
Yeah.
You talked about doubt. And I heard you talk about it with I think it was the Roommates podcast.
Yep.
Talked about doubt, and I want to kind of get into that because I really appreciate what you said.
Thank you.
Because I think we're in an age now where it's time to start being honest about where we are as Christians.
Sure.
And I remember he was talking about how like you could put out a facade, right, of everything being good all the time, and there's not a lot of space, especially with your spotlight, to be honest and to actually go through a journey with Christ. Everybody expects you to already got it figured out.
Sure, yeah.
What's your journey since that those two EPs? Are you still processing through all that stuff? And what's your advice for artists that are in the same space?
Yeah. A buddy of mine, Sho Baraka, said in an interview one time, he said, "Here's my opinion at this moment." And I always loved that because what it said was, by the time this is out, it could have changed. You know what I'm saying? Or this, I might be at a different spot next time you talk to me. I always appreciated that because it gives room. It gave room for himself to be a growing and evolving person in the public, which all of us are. Some people have a public platform, some don't. But for me, those EPs were really created in a time where there was a lot of confusion in my faith, and in some ways there still is. And I think for a lot of us, the election of Donald Trump, of the 44th president, was really a moment for a lot of people that it kind of pulled the curtain back on like America, Christianity, where a lot of people's allegiance lied. And I think it was just like, it's there, that like racism, and that like favoritism and all kinds of things like classism, all that stuff is there, but it's one of those moments when it's really laid out in front of you that you're like, oh, and it's kind of a shock. And I think there's a lot of people grieving. Like, you got to remember, right around that time, 2015, 2016, we were seeing black kids getting murdered like every week. And with social media stuff, I mean, there's still just such traumatic images of that guy, Philando, that was taking his last breaths on Instagram Live with his girlfriend, and just got shot by a cop. And the guy, after he shot him, he's still standing over him, like breathing, like, I told him, and you're like, bro, you just killed the man. He's not gonna do nothing to you. You're still standing there terrified, and you're just seeing like images like this over and over again. And then you're seeing, Donald Trump get elected into office, and knowing that 81% of evangelical Christians put that man there, and it's just kind of one of those wake up calls where you're like, oh, this is what we're dealing with. This is what's going on.
You guys are those guys.
And so there was a lot of grieving, like just for the loss and like the lack of care for Black lives, the lack of responsiveness from the white American church, which had been a lot of who we saw as our brothers and sisters and rallied around together. And so a lot of that's happening, and a lot of questioning of like, why are things the way that they are? God, where are you in this? And then the question that I was having a lot was like, okay, if I have learned about God through these people, yet when these things happen, they're nowhere to be found, I have to question what I've learned from these people. And so it was a lot of what I call deconstructing of what I believed about God. And the terrifying thing about deconstructing what you believe is that you don't know if when you get to the end of it, if you'll be left with nothing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you don't know if you let go of what you believe, that you'll end up not believing anything.
Yeah.
And then a lot of what you built your life on, your family on, your marriage on, your friendships on, your church community on, could all essentially, it's like it could be in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And so that's why, Kanye put out an album, the Ye album. Mm-hmm. And I remember it had just come out, and I was walking through the airport, like, I check out everything that comes out. And I put it on, and I was in the bathroom, and that one song called Ghost Town came on, and I'm like in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I just start crying.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm in a public bathroom, like in the airport, like, oh, good. And I was like, something was so beautiful. And at the end of the song, 070 Shake, the girl at the end, was saying, I let go of everything that I believed. I put my hand on the stove to see if I still bleed, and nothing hurts anymore. I feel kind of free. And I was like, I had to rewind it and listen to the lyrics to find out why I was, because it hit my emotional center, but I didn't even know what I was. So I was like, why did I just respond that way? And it was because he said I was letting go of everything I once believed. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. Yeah. And so it was a very scary time, but I think, questioning your faith or asking questions or having doubt is usually not welcomed in a lot of circles, because people feel like it's dishonoring to God, or that you're a bad person or a bad Christian if you question things. And really, like, I hope that through these projects we would dispel that. Yeah. That God can handle us being honest with him and coming to him and asking questions and, bringing our doubts and our fears, because then they can be addressed. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just sitting, underneath the surface and kind of eating us alive. Yeah. And, man, there was this one quote that I love. It's, the opposite of faith isn't doubt. It's fundamentalism. Yeah. Which is like, I don't have any questions because I got all the answers. I don't have any doubts because I'm 100% sure about all of this. And it's like, well, then how come the Bible is very clear that, like, you have to walk by faith, not by sight? Yeah, yeah. You literally have to exercise faith. And faith can exist when there's doubt. Yeah. It can't exist when there's absolutely no doubt. It's just this beautiful tension that I've found, working through that as a human and then as an artist expressing those things. And I think, through this time of questioning, like asking questions, reassessing what I believe, reconstructing what I believe, I found other camps, other circles, other tribes, that aren't so up in arms about questions like this. Yeah. That they're very welcoming and opening to those kind of conversations. And it's just felt like I've found a new home in a lot of ways, and that it's okay to feel what I'm feeling and to grow the way I'm growing and to challenge the things I've challenged. So
during that time of like questioning and doubt and disbelief, how much did you lean on your team, or how much did it help to have a team of artists around you or people around you who care about you during that time?
Yeah, man, like we have a group text with like a bunch of the guys from Reach and outside of Reach, but just basically like the homies. And it was great to be able to text them and to talk about stuff. And like, even as everything was happening in those years, 2015, 2016, we were sharing each other's thoughts, vulnerability in there. And it felt good to just have other guys that were going through it, thinking through it, encouraging each other. So I'd say that was a big part.
It seems
definitely
like
coming out on the other side good.
Honestly, what you're saying is closer to God than a lot of where those people are, because if you're in a place where you think everything, I figured out everything out, anybody who says something that's a little bit off, I'm going to attack them online. That kind of space is almost a little bit further away from God. Like, he wants you to be in that vulnerable, I need you all the time space. What's going to get the crew that we're talking about to move away from that legalistic, Pharisee-like adherence to this, not just church, but like the whole politics of church. Yeah, it seems like there's like almost like another thing controlling the church beyond just the walls.
that's a bigger conversation, I think, about church and church structure, which I have also been questioning and rethinking through quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that we probably need another podcast for that. But for me, what I think is, you know, what I said in Clarity was like, all I want is clarity because all my heroes are frauds just like me.
Yeah.
What we're finding out is like we're in the era of finding out that all our heroes are frauds.
Yeah.
And that like you see R. Kelly coming down, Michael Jackson coming down, like everything is like being exposed. All of these actors, actresses, Hollywood, Weinstein, like it's just like the secrets can no longer be held, and so these pristine images of people are going to continue to be demolished because of our accessibility to information and videos and, you know, all that stuff. So what I've had to realize is like, yo, all of my heroes are frauds. All the people that I've really looked up to, they're just broken people. Mm-hmm. And they're not these like glorified, like they have all the right answers like I once envisioned them. And that's why at the end of the chorus I turn it back on me, because all of my heroes are frauds just like me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'm no different from these people. And even if people look up to me, I mean, I've been saying this since Heroes for Sale. That's why I said like your heroes are for sale because they can be bought. You buy into this concept of heroes, and there's only one hero, like true hero. So I think what happens is you live a little bit more life, and your idealism usually starts to get shattered, because like it's like the Kyrie Irving situation, right? Kyrie Irving,
You perked up.
I've been here the whole time.
Honestly, it's like this. It's like Kyrie Irving is like, yo, I carried us to victory.
Yeah.
LeBron.
Yeah.
I should be the number one guy.
Yep.
I should be the man. So I'm a change teams and I'm gonna build my own thing.
Okay.
And then you get the phone call, yo, LeBron, my bad.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't realize how much weight, how much responsibility, how much work. I didn't get it because I was just young.
Yeah.
And LeBron, the OG, is like, you know what I'm saying? He's been through it. He's seen. So I think sometimes just in our youngness, whether it's in a physical age or just a spiritual age, in our youngness and our prematureness, sometimes we can just be super critical of people.
Yeah.
If I was doing it, I would have done it like this. Until people get there and they realize how difficult it is to navigate, that's usually what humbles people.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten so many phone calls. I've tried to tell people, talk to people, even people on the label, young dudes I try to bring under my wing, and they're like, nah, bro, you're bugging. A year later, I get the LeBron phone call. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, my bad, son. I didn't know. Everybody is a armchair coach. Mm-hmm. Everybody could pop off on Twitter and talk about what they would do and what they wouldn't do, but you don't know those people's lives. You don't know. Mm-hmm. So I think life happens and you get humbled.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what contributes to that. And then there's another route that you could take, which is the Aaron Rodgers route, which is, I'm going to sit out and I'm gonna be patient and I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna wait and I'm not gonna be critical and I'm not gonna force myself to the front, and when my time comes I'll be ready and I'll be humble to learn. And I like that approach a lot better, and I've seen a lot more wins with that.
So what is it in front of you? Like what are you looking forward to now? Because I mean, a lot of people that, you know, send music to us or whatever, they would love to be where you are.
Sure.
Right? And they look up to you as a guy. I mean, I have people in my head. What's the next mountain for you to conquer?
Well, you know, for me, like, it's been incredible to be a part of the Christian community, because when I started making music, I was like, yo, I love God, I love hip hop, and I didn't have any places in the world that existed like that. And I found this community, and I was sharing my music, and people were like, yo, we need more of this. And then Lecrae was doing it, and Ambassador and all these other guys, and The Truth. And I was like, man, this is so cool. This is a little home, you know, especially when you're looking for home, you're looking for an identity, you're looking for some of those things at that age, 18, 19, 20 years old. This was like everything. This was my world, and I'm so grateful for it because it gave me space to grow. Yeah. And this is even why I want to come and contribute to this, because this culture is so important for for people that are trying to find an alternative to like what's out in the world, and even in my own like arrogance and my youngness, I made fun of this space. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nah, this is corny, and I just wish I never said those things, because I feel like it was more harmful than it was helpful. And I always want to challenge people towards excellence. I think we need to do stuff better and grow, but every time there's a new thing, a new genre, a new space or whatever, there's always those weird beginnings of like, we just trying to figure it out, and there's growing pains. But unless you invest, unless you give back, it's hard to see those things elevate. I think about stuff like Latin trap. It's like one of the biggest genres in the world right now, but if you listen to the early stuff of it, it was like, y'all are just stealing. Like, it's really low quality, bad. It's just like, but now it's grown and become a thing. So
you want to
I want to invest here, but I also want to take my fans with me into other spaces. And I think it'd be nice to see this grow to a larger audience, not just for fame, success, money, but because if you feel like you have a good message, a positive thing to offer the world, then I want it to be able to grow beyond just this space. And there's been a lot of confusion around that. People think that you want to disassociate yourself from being Christian, and it's really like, man, nah, everybody's gonna have their own mission. They're gonna have their own goal. Some people want to make music for the church, some people want to make music from the church. I think all of it's good, and for me, I would love to get into radio, mainstream radio. I'd love to be making records and collaborating with people outside of our space. And we've already started to do that, and it comes with the hits, the criticism and all that stuff. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you trying to, But I think if God is sending you to do that stuff, like, he'll give you the grace to do it as well.
That's dope.
And, I hope people would support and see the mission in that. Like, that helping that thing grow is helping more people be introduced to the music. I could tell you so many stories, man. Like when Lecrae did the record with Tedashii, how much criticism he got. But then when he's floating around to these radio interviews, and he comes into the radio station, and people are like, "Oh my God, bro, thank you for being here." Like, this stuff never happens, man. Like, people don't come into this space, and like, it's so refreshing, and he's getting to pray with people, talk with people. It's like, people don't get to see that. All they get to see is the music video and to criticize from Twitter. So, I just hope that people see the mission and help participate in it, as they already have been. Which has been great.
Man, we have a million questions for you. We don't want to keep you too long, but I just want to know immediate future. You working on anything right now that we can get excited about? Any big changes coming? Anything at all that we can end off with a bang?
Yes.
Drop some news.
More projects on the way. I'm actually, the reason why they're pressing me now is because I got to go shoot another thing that we're hopefully going to get ready to drop here real soon. And then working on some music for the summer as well. And so, actively, like, I don't know when this is coming out, but by the time this comes out,
we'll make sure it gets in front of it.
But 2 projects this year scheduled. And I'm heading to one right now to work on it.
Thanks for sitting with us, man. We appreciate you, sir.
For sure. And let's get back up and finish these combos.
Absolutely, man. It's a big conversation.
Thank you, guys.
You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let go.